I will start out with Explore Planets AF. We should explore planets and other galaxies because, one, if a meteor hits or another space body comes into contact with Earth, we don't want human civilizations to be wiped out, and we don't want the human race to come to an end. We want to keep going and keep living so that we can populate and not die out. Another reason is if we move to different planets, we can increase our knowledge of the universe and how it started, and maybe develop some new technologies that we could use in favor of the human race. And it could bring nations together. Moving to planets is not an easy task, and it would require teamwork from multiple nations across the globe to help solve it. Next, I will be doing uniforms AF. The affirmative to having uniforms is it won't it won't affect your image. People, like, if you bring some clothes to school and they're not the best looking, you won't get bullied because you have this uniform on. And so the next one is it may deter crime because in high school, well, most popularly the higher grades of high school, people, well, not people, but we have people, but they tend to find their own way and getting jobs and going out a lot, and they may get into gangs and other bad organizations, and them not being allowed to represent that gang or bad organization is going to have a good impact on the school and its surrounding areas. And following up on that, it would make a safe environment because there would be no gang activity, no bad organization activity, and no bullying. It would just make it safer for everybody that is involved. Now, for the third one, I will be doing nukes negative. So, nukes should not be allowed because of environmental concerns. That's only one reason. When a nuke gets set off, there's a lot of underlying effects like radiation that stays in that area where the nuke gets dropped and exploded. You can't go back to that area for years on end because of the radiation. And now, another reason why nuclear warfare is not a good idea is because it just costs so much. Like, all this all these materials, uranium, that is radioactive. It is used to create them. It is not cheap, and it is very rare, and sometimes people have to make it in labs, and that all that equipment is just going to cost too much, and we can't really afford that with our $1 trillion of debt that we have. And another reason is there will always be civilian casualties because when you drop nukes, that blast is huge, enormous. If you're trying to hit a base on, let's say, in one state, that blast wave, that shock wave it's massive, and it will hit nearby civilians every time, no matter where you detonate it, if it's not in a controlled environment. Now, for the fourth one, I will be doing the affirmative of zoos. So we should have zoos for entertainment purposes because it gives people the chance to see exotic animals that they could never see before, like like a tiger or something. I would have never seen a tiger in real life. I would like they originate somewhere across the world from here, so I can't go there whenever I want, but I can go to a zoo. It's much cheaper and it's much safer for me to go to a zoo than across the world and have to risk myself and a bunch of money trying to see an animal. It can also be educational because there are many classes, many like daycare classes at zoos that teach you about animals and the many bird species, animal species, fish species, everything. And it can, so let's say if a species is endangered, and all we gotta do is take a male and a female from that species and put them in the zoo or put them in a safe environment to so they can reproduce, and they can do that. That safe environment would be the zoo because they can do that. They can reproduce safely without harm of hunters and poachers that are trying to kill this species and other predators until the species is like nourished back to health or it's not endangered anymore. Now, I will do the affirmative of cloning for my next one. So we should clone because we can clone we can clone different body parts, and let's say somebody's about to die and they need a new kidney or something, we can have that cloned kidney on standby instead of hoping that somebody's gonna willingly donate their own kidney to save this other person. And it'd just be much safer and faster for us to clone things and people and organs rather than to hope somebody else has it. Now, so my next point would be it would have like defective genes that we have, like autism and some cancers. We could eliminate that with the cloning. We could clone the genes that we want in our human society, in anything really. We could clone the genes that we want, and then we could get rid of the genes that we don't. The genes, cells, get rid of them. We don't need those. Now, next I will be doing the affirmatives for metal detectors. Now, we should have metal detectors because it will curb increasing violence. Now, it will curb this violence because, let's say, if somebody brings like a knife or a gun to school, they have them walk through the metal detector, and we could see that weapon that they have in their backpack or pocket. Now, I know people saying anybody could have a weapon, but a pencil is not gonna do. Well, a pencil isn't gonna do as much damage as a gun would, let's say, and it's a more comfortable environment because when you walk through that metal detector, you know nothing dangerous is gonna get through, so you know you're safe, and then you can focus more on schoolwork, knowing that nothing, well, not nothing, but that no lethal weapons will be in the school premises. And if people see metal detectors, for my next point, if people see metal detectors, they're less likely to engage in violent acts. Like, the metal detectors would act as like some kind of security thing. There would be more people working those metal detectors, and it would just discourage violence. Okay, so next I will be doing privacy versus security. So privacy versus security. Why is this bad? Because it can't search without a good cause. So what I'm saying is, if you're on the internet and you're trying to look up something bad, you shouldn't. Well, sorry, let me just restart that. I will be doing AF for privacy versus security. That's what I meant to say. So if you're not if you're trying to look something up, you shouldn't be afraid of what you're looking something up. If it's illegal, then you should be afraid because people will catch you. And that's why we need this, because the people looking up illegal things will know not to because of this, of the security of our web. And it controls the media. Let's say there's a terrorist threat or a bomb threat, and somebody posts that on social media. We could get rid of that. We could track the person down. We could get them in jail. And overall, we just need this, and it would help our media, our people with media. It would help them do much better and feel much safer posting things. And so our government can access, and another point would be our government can access records of, let's say, sketchy people. They can access their records to see if they're doing anything wrong, and if they're not, if they're fine, the government will leave them alone, and they'll never, never interfere with them again. But the government would only interfere if you're doing something illegal or doing something wrong. Now the third what is it? The so next um my next what's it called? What is this thing called? My next point will be the union workers. So I will be doing the F for this one. Okay, so the union. So joining the union, if workers could unionize, there would be lower unemployment all across, across the right to work states, which one of them is Florida. And people would, join the union, which has better pay, and then better hours, more flexible than a regular job that is controlled 100% by one person. And oh yeah, and now and there would be lower property taxes because all the workers are working, they're fine, they're doing what they want to, and that would lead to more people buying their houses, buying more things because they have more money because they're in the union, and it will lead to lower property taxes. Now, the next one I will be doing death penalty. That will be neg. So, death penalty neg will be my next one. So the death penalty should be outlawed in all states because it is uncivilized. Strapping a person down, killing him. That's not really how do I say this? It's not really a good thing that we should be doing. It's not a humane thing that we should be doing, and all around it is bad. So another reason why we should have this is somebody gets wrongly convicted, and there will be no second chances for that person. There will be no rehabilitation. They will just, that wrongly convicted person will die, and the person who actually did it will get off scot-free without any punishment because they think they have killed the person who actually did the crime when the person who did it is already gone. And back to the point on no rehabilitation, you don't get second chances. Like, if you're convicted with the death penalty, in a couple days you will die. There is no pleading out of it, and there is no chances for survival. My last one will be healthcare, and I will do my neg for this one. So healthcare neg, that's my last one. So healthcare, free healthcare, sorry. It will never be free. Let's be honest. That's my first point. It will never be free because somebody's got to pay for that, and the healthcare will be coming out of our tax dollars, or it'll be coming out of other places where we pay. All in all, somebody's got to pay for that, and we'll just be paying for it in other ways, so it won't be free. And with this free healthcare, people will stop taking care of themselves, because if people know that they can lean on a crutch such as free healthcare, if people know they can lean on that, then people will just go around and not care about themselves, be reckless, and that could lead to major injuries and even death rates going up. And with backing up my point, with so many people not taking care of themselves and not being careful, the public healthcare line would go way out of proportion, and it would just have long wait times because so many people have subscribed to this free healthcare, and people will stop being careful, and that's a lot of people not being careful with themselves, and they will go to this public healthcare and they will have to wait, sometimes not even getting care in time when they need it, because there are so many other people that have done the same thing as they have, and it's just not going to happen.